Hi YouTube, my name's Matt. I've realized this is the first time that you've ever seen me behind the gloves, the man behind the gloves. We're so thankful that you guys gave us the questions. I can't wait to answer them. My lovely assistant Tara is going to read them off for me, and I hopefully will give you some really good answers. And in the end, if we have some questions or comments that you want to ask some more questions, don't hesitate to write them down and we'll answer those for you.
Are all babies born with flat feet?
Ooh. Are all babies born with flat feet? Yes. Well, the majority of them are. In our world, what we consider is all babies have fat, flat, and floppy feet until the age of 3. You can think of this because of the lack of muscle strength and because the bones are still developing. So there's still many growth plates and the bones are still growing. If you think of a baby, how you have to always support their head, it's kind of the same thing. They haven't started walking, so their muscles haven't developed and their bones are still growing. That's a good question.
What benefits can custom orthotics bring me, and why are they preferable to a $20 pair from the store?
Awesome, that's a really good question. So the reason why you want to get custom orthotics is I kind of think of it in 3 ways. Number 1 is that you want to control the rear foot. Number 2, you want to control the forefoot. And number 3 is pressure redistribution or pressure offloading. So whenever we go into manufacturing a pair of orthotics or prescribing a pair of orthotics, we want to make sure that we are considering all 3 of those aspects. There's much more to it, but that's a simplified version. When we have over-the-counter orthotics, so to speak, or the $20 orthotics that you can get from kind of your convenience store or grocery store, you simply just can't control those features. One, you won't get any pressure offloading and for instance, that could be an ulcer or corn or callus. And then if you think about it in controlling the foot, we think of it as the forefoot and the rear foot. So we want to make sure that the rear foot can move this way and the forefoot's locked in its position and then supported the whole way through. And you just simply can't do that with an over-the-counter orthotic. Doesn't mean that there aren't applications for it. It's just that there is a lengthy process that goes into it to control those 3 broad features.
What tips do you have for cutting your own toenails at home?
Always asked. Everyone asks, well, what do you do and how do you prevent ingrown toenails? That's really the biggest question. So the number 1 thing is you want to cut the nail straight across. Okay, this always comes up. People sometimes even come in and they think they're cutting straight across, but instead they're leaving their nail like this. You have to get the nail straight across. We also say you want to leave about a millimeter growth, so a millimeter of the white or lifted nail at the end you want to leave so that you have that growth there. Don't go digging into the corners. When you have an ingrown, you want to see a specialist, and they will most likely have to go into the corner to take the ingrown out. But the biggest thing is that they're cutting straight across and going all the way. What happens is we see patients come in, they don't cut all the way across, and they leave this little piece of nail and it starts growing in like a spike or a knife, and then you get an ingrown toenail. Good question.
What is your favorite part about the job?
Ooh, favorite part about the job. This is an easy one for me. My favorite thing to do is to help people. So anything I can do to help people, I will do my best to make sure that the patient feels better leaving the room or leaving the office. One ideal thing about our profession is people can come in with an issue and it's something we can almost fix relatively fast. So they can come in pain and literally leave in much, much less pain. So that is a great part about the job, and that's my favorite thing about the job.
How do you pronounce chiropodist?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. Some people get really offended with this question if someone comes in and says chiropodist. Personally, it does not bother me what you say. However, you do pronounce it chiropodist. So think of, I always like to say, you think of chiropractor, so it's chiropodist.
Your office looks so young. How qualified are you?
Thank you. I'm honored that you think we look so young, but I can assure you that we are qualified. Actually, as a chiropodist in Ontario, you need to have undergone your undergrad. So we have 7 years training minimum. So you've done your undergrad, and then it's 3 years post-grad. So although maybe we look young, I feel old sometimes saying that. I always joke and say that I'm the least educated out of the the other chiropodist here. I did my undergrad at the University of Waterloo, and then went to Missioner and did my chiropody program there. The other two chiropodists, they did their undergrad, then went on to do their masters, and then did their postgraduate there. So they have 9 or 8 years of training. And although maybe we look young, we are pretty involved in the chiropody world. So one of the associates, Alexandra, she's a president of the Ontario Society of Chiropodists, and then I sit on the board for the College of Chiropodists in Ontario.
I have diabetes and was told it can really affect my feet. How?
Oh, can be a very lengthy question, so I'm going to try and answer it really fast and briefly. Basically, I like to think of it as the increased sugar levels attacks every cell. So your body works as a system, so anytime you have a break in that system, you're ultimately going to be affected. The biggest thing with the increased sugar is it decreases blood flow. It can cause problems with blood flow. It causes neuropathy or lack of sensation, so sometimes patients come in and they have no idea that they've been stepping on a pebble for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then they have a wound. Your immune system isn't as strong, and then you don't heal as fast. So there's many issues that come around with the diabetes. The best thing is to control those blood sugars, make sure that you're seeing someone regularly to have that looked at. We could definitely go into that more in depth because that's a very broad question, but good question.
My husband's heel pain has been bothering him for weeks. Should we come in for an appointment or will it go away with time?
You should definitely come in for an appointment. You never want to leave something to the last minute or just assume that it's going to go away. I'm a firm believer of preventative medicine is the best medicine, so if you can get on top of it without causing more damage. One thing that always, is an issue that we always see is that patients come in and they've left it for months and months and months, and then they expect a quick fix. There's no such thing as a quick fix in medicine. You always have to work on something, and the faster you get in, the faster you can resolve it. And again, preventative medicine is the best medicine.
Any tips for marathon runners?
Any tips for marathon runners? Oh, definitely. So biggest thing is make sure you keep your toenails short. I don't know if you've ever heard of runner's toe or runner's nail. That constant jamming of the toenail against the end of the shoe causes the nail to lift and fill up with blood, and then the nail can fall off. Second thing is any abnormal callousing you want to reduce. The shoes, you want to make sure that your shoes are always new, and that you're replacing them, and then that you're breaking them in as well. You never want to run in a new pair of shoes and do a significant amount of time. Stretch and train properly. We always get what we call the weekend warrior types, where they go from not running all winter to being like, hey, I used to run 10K back in high school, so I'm going to go run 10K, and then they come in with many injuries. So training, stretching, proper foot health, maintenance, and good footwear.
Okay, this is our last question.
Oh, last question, amazing.
Why do I have to break in my shoes? Shouldn't they be comfortable right away?
This question leads right in the last one. So you do have to break in your shoes. Sometimes the materials can be made a little bit more rigid. There are, the style of shoes now is to go with a little bit softer, more flexible material, so maybe don't require as much break-in. But some materials are quite rigid. The second thing is that material that your foot might be used to, it might be more supportive. And then you might go to a more flexible shoe. Anytime that you're going to change the support of the shoe, some muscles are going to be stretched and some are going to be strengthened. So in that case, it's like doing a workout on a body part you haven't done in a while. The next day your feet are going to be sore, and they're going to hurt because you're engaging some muscles that haven't been engaged before. The other thing is commonly you'll see is people get blisters, and that's simply because of the irritation on the shoe. So you always want to break it in, make sure you're not causing more trauma by overdoing it in a pair of shoes. Well, that's it. If you guys again have any questions, please leave them in the comments and we'll answer them, or even do a second video. Thanks so much. Look forward to many more videos.